It started backing up waste into there. You can see from that bottom picture, that blue line, you're up about 4 foot. Our electrical boxes were going underwater. You guys were able to get the pump set up, get it pumped out before we lost the actual electric motors. So it's one of them midnight deals. So that's all I got. I told you to be quick.
Good job.
Thank you, and thank you to your staff, Doug, for all the good work that you do. I know I've talked to Doug a few times where he's sweating the coming week or weekend or something like that. I don't know how this is going to work, and everything has turned out just fine. So we appreciate all that you do. So and Doug is extremely responsive to any complaints or issues. Any calls that I've got that I just send Doug an email, he's Johnny on it, so I appreciate it.
Good.
Next up, CVB. Hi, Jessica.
How are you guys?
Good.
All right, so Jessica Brown-Miller, CVB manager for the city of Lamar's. 2023 was a busy year for us again, so very thankful that things continue to improve from the 2019-2020 numbers that we were at. So as you can see there on the top, just kind of very high level what promotions we were part of last year. So most of them are pretty typical, like the ice cream days and the fair and things like that. A couple of them that were a little bit different for us this year is we were lucky enough to be selected for Soul of Iowa 2.0, which actually, after we're done here today, that program will actually be launching statewide here coming up, and we have a call with the state. But what it was, I don't know if you guys saw any of their ads that they ran in 2022, but it was the biggest campaign response they'd ever gotten, and it was like all this high drones zooming in and out, everything. It was fabulous. So last year they opened that up to all of the state, because the first year they were hand selected who got to participate. So you had to apply, and hopefully you got picked and all that kind of good stuff. And we were one of the communities that were chosen. We were partnered with O'Brien County, so myself and Kiana up there worked with the state and their influencers and brought them here to Lamar's in August of just this last year. So I don't know if I had posted it on our socials, if any of you guys paid attention, but her name is Sarah Lynch, and currently she's at about 130,000 followers, and she did pretty cool reel that was posted on her Insta. And then I know it's hard to read on that, and I just kind of, because I'll tell you about it, but she, from that little reel that she did, we had 233,000 impressions, and that reel was watched about 30,000 times. So hopefully we'll see some interested visitors coming from that campaign. So basically, it's pretty simple. We set up a day for them. Like we went to Bellissimo's, Bob's, Archie's, Wise Eye, obviously the parlor, hit the downtown with the ice cream cone sculptures and the alley art and the museum, and then we put them up at the Inn on Central. So spent the night here with her and her family, and in the morning they had coffee and breakfast at Habitue and headed up to O'Brien County, where they took over for the piece of it. So anyway, her handle is Planet with Sarah, so if you haven't seen it, I suggest you do. It's a nice little piece. But those, the bigger campaigns will actually be launching here in the next couple months throughout the state as well. So anyway, that one was a new one for us, and we were very appreciative that the state selected Lamar's to participate in that. The other new one for us this last year was we did go to the Iowa State Fair. I know Lori had mentioned that when she did her report just a couple weeks ago, so we had a booth there. It was very interesting. We'd never done that before. So us, the chamber, and then obviously Beth from the parlor was there. So talked to a lot of people. I don't necessarily know that we're going to get a lot of people coming to visit us from that event, but for the price that was charged for us to do it, it was worth a shot. So we'll see what happens if that comes up again this next year or not. Yeah, like I said, all the rest of them are pretty typical. marketing pieces that we do. Then again, there's just kind of very high level your social media channels and the kind of stats and what people are interested in, what they're looking at on those sites. We did finally cracked 7,000 followers on Facebook, so I was super pumped about that this year. And we were kind of stagnant for a while, but so not quite sure if it was that 12th Street Railroad opening that finally pushed us over the edge, but it was huge. And again, always very interesting to see what not only our community people are interested in reading about travelers as well. Then, let's see, on page 2, that is your facility usage, and then the year-over-year comparison. So we are pretty consistent with what we did in 2022, and still kind of slowly creeping up from our pre-COVID numbers. Still running short on convention center rentals, but the other facilities are doing very well. If we could build another shelter house, we would have that puppy filled all the time as well. So that's probably the one I get the most calls for, and we turn a lot of people away just because it's already booked. So I have one Saturday left this year, so anybody in Lamar's that needs September 21st, call me. That's it, we're done.
Really?
Yeah, so very popular. And then you got your first, or your hotel motel for this next funding round. Last year we funded 9 projects throughout the year, so and that's just the basic listing of which ones those were. Again, all of them pretty typical for who applied and what projects were funded. The new one that wasn't, we'd never done before was the canine trials that were here last year, so that one was a different one, and yeah, I think they had a really good turnout for that. Yeah, so. Let's see, I always include what your revenue numbers are, not necessarily Lamar's revenue numbers, but we do get reporting from the state of Iowa on what is happening county-wise as far as revenue and tourism dollars that are spent within the area. So I always find it very interesting. It actually shocks me sometimes that how much, when you see those numbers, is actually spent in our community, with us being obviously the largest one in Plymouth County. Yes, so, and then we partner with the state of Iowa also on some tracking software, I guess you could call it. So that just basically helps us kind of decide where it is that we want to place our ads and use our marketing dollars. So that's what you're seeing on that last page. So obviously, for us, Omaha is our biggest draw within this last year. So their media market is a little bit different on how we track that. Like it's not typically like 50 miles is kind of what or where our numbers start. So it's not 50-mile radius. It's skewed a little bit. So like the Sioux City area actually runs like all the way up to northern Iowa, almost into Minnesota. So little bit different as far as when you're trying to place those dollars, but it is a very valuable tool and helps us also kind of see, for Ice Cream Days example, how many people did we have that came from 50 miles away and spent at least 2 hours here? What markets are they coming from? So when you're dropping those ads, you're hopefully getting the most bang for your buck and not wasting it on, you know, maybe Kansas City, because they probably aren't going to come from that far. So anyway, I always like to kind of show you those numbers as well. We had about, within those parameters, the 50 miles away or more for 2 hours or longer, about 91,000 people came to town last year, throughout the year. So that's a good number, not necessarily mean that they were not from Lamar's, because we can't get that in detail. Like they came home for Christmas or things like that. November was our biggest month, so hopefully that's around our Thanksgiving time, and we did have some really good hotel occupancy that week as well. And then July, the fair really does really well for us as well. So, any questions on any of that?
How do they track those numbers again?
Oh, that would be your cell phone.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yes.
Just
So
so do
it's
you
very
track-
creepy, I think. Actually, on our website, when I'm like looking at our metrics, because you see the real or the users at the same time that you're on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that just freaks me out. And like, they're looking at the police blotter again, or whatever. So yeah, it's very interesting, but yeah, so your cell phones give a lot of information away about you.
Do you track hotel, motel vacancy?
Yes, yep, we do actually get a STR report, it's called, from the state as well.
Do we need another hotel?
I would say yes. Yes.
Okay. That would help our hotel, motel sales tax,
Correct.
dollars, I would think.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot, especially when you get into those weekends, like the ice cream days, things like that. Like, I had a wedding just this last year. They couldn't even stay here because we already have our own events going on, and the campgrounds are full. And yeah, if there was no place, then you're like, well, try Sioux City. I don't know what to tell you, or Sioux Center, you know. So in those key times, I would think it would help a lot for sure.
I get visited by a fair number of out-of-town insurance company reps throughout the year, and seldom are they staying in Lawrence. It's always seems like Orange City and Sioux Center are far more popular for the brand that they have, that their company has approved for them to stay at.
Correct.
It
Yeah.
seems to be the reasoning. But
I know we had, this is a while ago, but it was something, our hotels here, because they were working on a city project with us. They couldn't stay here. They had to go to Sioux Center because that was their hotel brand that they
was approved by the
correct.
company.
Yeah.
Pretty high occupancy rate, like over 80%.
Yeah, it's really,
So-
we do pretty good.
Right.
Mr. Gall, that's on your to-do list.
As marching orders.
He and I have talked about that in the past.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Jessica. Golf.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Brian Schultz. I'm the general manager at Willow Creek. The golf course today is not open yet. Probably tomorrow or Wednesday, or Thursday. It is supposed to be 50s, but let's get rid of the snow first, and then we'll look at sometime in March. Kind of my report I'm going to go through. I apologize, I have no pictures. I just have 4 pages of.
You're the only one that I care to see pictures of is the golf course, and there's none.
Next year. So we started out January, February. We had lots of snow, which was good. It was kind of a welcome change from the year before, where we had very little snow, very little moisture, which was good for insulation of the grass. We really made it through the year fairly decent. So February, Ping Golf came out and announced we were one of the power fitters for 2022, which meant we were one of the top 277 accounts across the country. There's one in the state, we were 1 out of 4 in the state of Iowa. South Dakota had 1, Nebraska had 2. I think I looked at Minnesota too, they had 4 or 5. So kind of a neat deal. We were kind of recognized nationwide. Shortly after that, we got a little bit of rain, and the creek came out and flooded in February. Wasn't too bad for flooding, but we did knock the bridge loose on 4 Black last year. We busted a piling off. So that kind of set us back a little bit, but could have been worse. That's why kind of that bridge that we were talking about earlier on 7 Red will be nice to have no pilings in the actual kind of the channel of the creek. So hopefully if we can make it another couple of years, we'll be in good shape. We did open up April 2nd last year, and then April was kind of a roller coaster all month. We actually had 2 weekends we had 0 play. It was that cold. The one April we had, the one weekend we had snow, which is kind of a little different to not actually have 2 weekends of 0 golf. Grass kind of woke up. We had no snow mold issues on the greens. We did have a little bit of ice damage in the fairways. Soil temp stayed cooler. It really took till May till the golf course really greened up and really got going. So then we rolled right into summer. Just like the year before, we had very minimal rain. If we did have rain, it had kind of happened at overnight or periods that we were not busy. Rough stayed green all summer. The summer temps really didn't kind of peak out as high as normal. Humidity and stuff was down a little bit, so the golf course stayed green all summer, which also meant a lot of opportunity to play golf. And we really saw that in numbers of rounds, members, green fees, everything like that. It was an outstanding year. Kind of rolled around August, September. We had a little more rain, mild temps, course recovered from summer. Obviously, September hits. We do not have the number of play during the day, during the weeks. Kind of everything's focused pretty much on the weekends. Went through airification, airified all 27 greens, got that all healed up. Kind of finished our outings the end of September, and then we had that snowstorm the last weekend of October, which was a little different again last year. Then it kind of warmed back up. November was outstanding for weather. Golf-wise isn't quite like June or July, but people kind of played till November. We blew out sprinkler system. We finished the Monday, Tuesday, right before Thanksgiving, which was about as late as we've ever had it on. But it's nice to keep the grass, the crowns hydrated going into winter time when we're mowing at ½ inch for tee boxes. Greens are shorter than that. It's nice to keep water, keep the plants hydrated. After blowing out, we were able to fix several irrigation issues. We ended up fixing 8 valves over the fall, and that really gives us a good start for next spring. Don't have to worry about fixing stuff before we turn it on. 1.5 inches of rain in the middle of November, no frost in the ground, absolutely perfect for the grass. We actually had one day, December 23rd, we opened up the course, kind of a really Christmas present, had 50-some rounds played, most of the local people, but it was good. It was good to play a little bit. Green fee wise, kind of a couple numbers, last 2 years, we did raise the prices in 23. But our number was $175,144 compared to 2022, which was $141. I did kind of look at it. I figured about $10,000 was from the raise, so we still were up about close to $20,000 just in green fees. So membership-wise, I did do a little chart from. Actually, I had numbers I could find fairly handy from 2020 up to 2023. Significant increases in memberships all the way across the board. Students are about steady. Couples are about steady too. So outstanding numbers. Kind of went through leagues. We have leagues on ladies on Tuesday night, men on Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday afternoon league, there's 18 holes. The Thursday league only has 9 holes. And the Friday night couples, we have just a 9-hole scramble league on the Friday nights in the summertime. Outings, June and August, very busy. May kind of has a few. April's kind of questionable, so we never really have much booked in April other than like school golf. July is pretty open usually, but everybody prepares for the fair, and then the fair is the following week, so that's 2 weeks that most people kind of stay away from. Several people I talked to had the outings. They had their highest number of participants that they've kind of ever had. Everybody seems like they usually had 30, then they had 45 this year. They had 100, they had 120. So, I mean, it's neat to see people participate in those things as well. We had all but one outing occurred last year, and that was because of the rain out in September. So, outstanding. I mean, we hit everything as high as we could. And almost all of them are pretty much booked already for 2024. We did just, about a week and a half ago, talking with Jeff Kramer from the Galen Athletic Department. We do have the War Eagle Conference men and women coming here now. They have been at the Ridge the last couple of years, but the last several years, but I think Unity dropped out, and there's one of the schools dropped out, so they are moving the War Eagle Conference to Lamar's for the foreseeable future, I think, as long as we're willing to host them. So, junior golf takes place Thursday mornings, June and July, pretty much. We had 110 kids this year again. Kind of a fairly steady number the last couple of years. We have junior tour stop. We're looking at this year having the 2024 Tour Championship at Willow Creek. So. We're still working on the schedule of several of the surrounding golf courses to get that put together. Kind of some numbers then on the outside part of it. First off, irrigation wise, we have 2 pump stations. One that covers the old 18, the second one covers the newer 9 holes. You can see some numbers the last couple of years that I put in there. Last year was fairly average. We had about 28, almost 29 million gallons of water on the old side. New side had almost 13 million. Kind of the length of the system, we charged it April 14th, and we blew out, like I say, I think it was November 19th, 20th, 21st. Just had a couple random breaks in 23 from the winter. You never know with all the frost heaves and what we might not get all the way blown out. So we had a good 2023. During the season, we had, I just kind of listed different, what we did. We had 8 isolation valve replacements. We had 15 broken joints or T's or elbows, some faulty solenoids, valves, and we did have 4 broken heads, which is kind of on us because we kind of hit them with a mower, and then maybe that night or whatever it gives away when it pops on, and we have a geyser in the morning. So we also kind of worked on some tee boxes this fall. We had some dirt available for us, so we increased the size in 3 of our tee boxes, and we enlarged 3 of them as well, and kind of serve 2 purposes: help with wear and tear that we're seeing with the increased play, and also to make it more enjoyable for some of the people that don't hit it quite as far. So we kind of moved some tee boxes up.
Could you, rather than call them senior boxes, maybe like blue box? I'm just saying, as I get closer to 60, I'm thinking, you know.
I've got no problem calling them senior boxes.
There is a red box as well, Brad.
It was red, not ladies,
Or
right?
front tee box.
There you go.
I do catch myself kind of talking
Yeah.
more and more too, though he is right to not
No,
gender specific. I mean, it's just a front box or a middle box.
But we
or
grew
a-
up calling them that, so I
We
get
did
it.
call them different.
I'm just teasing you.
But there are people that as they get older, they play different boxes, and we encourage that to play a tee box that you enjoy. I mean, not everybody hits it the same length, and if people continue to keep playing later on, it's a good sport for them. So, cart path extensions, we added about 4 spots. We did add quite a large one along 3T.
Absolutely.
That'll be really nice for people that we have a kind of an